So I watched the Mario Galaxy movie the other day, and here are my full thoughts on it. I already covered this movie, but it was a non-spoiler review. If you don't want spoilers, go watch that one. And when you have watched the movie, come back and watch this one. Still here? Okay, then let's begin. I just gotta say, the visuals and the music and everything in this movie is perfect. In my personal opinion, it looks the best that it could possibly look. There were a couple of instances where they showed 8-bit footage instead of 3D. There was a portion where Bowser Jr. was controlling like the level and stuff where it looked good because it made it look like he was playing the game. But there was a point where they were rebuilding the castle and it was 8-bit, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it could be a reference to Mario Maker, maybe, but I don't know. They could have done it to save time and money, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. That's the only one where I was like, oh, okay. It would have just been like a montage or something anyway. But overall, the movie looked great. The characters look great. Bowser Jr. looks great. Rosalina looks great. Yoshi. There wasn't as much of Yoshi as I expected, but given what we were given in the movie, I think he fills his role perfectly. It's not that he was sidelined or anything, he just didn't have the main focus, but that's probably because there was already a lot of characters to begin with. We have the original four cast, like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. And then we have Bowser and Bowser Jr., a couple of other side characters, and then Fox, and Fox wasn't even that much of a side character either. He was actually decently prominent and pushes the plot along, and he sticks around until the end of the film, too. I was a little worried that he and Mario were gonna have some sort of rivalry, competing for Peach's love or something, but I'm very relieved that they didn't do that, because they kind of glared at each other at first, and I was worried, oh no, is there gonna be some sort of weird rivalry? But no, Mario was just like, cool ride. And I let out a sigh of relief because that would have been so cliche and annoying to watch. He was already being weird and awkward with Peach because of his crush on her. That on its own is pretty cliche. As well as the whole Luigi thing being like, come on, you gotta tell her how you feel. And Luigi and Mario's bond is still very important in this film, but it's not the main focus. There's a lot of other focuses with other family dynamics in this movie, because I think that's the theme of this movie is family. We have Rosalina with the Lumas, because they literally call her mom and she reads them bedtime stories. And I thought that was really cute. And they're all clearly voiced by children. And one of the bedtime stories that she reads is about Peach, because they were sisters. I was not expecting that, and I don't know how other people are gonna feel about that, because I don't think that's accurate to the games. I didn't really have a problem with it though, because it helps with the storytelling, and it explains where Peach came from, because Rosalina sent Peach away in a warp pipe because their planet was being attacked. And Peach remembers that a little bit, so when she sees Rosalina's face for the first time, she's like, oh, this is extra important for me to do, because at this point it's personal. Rosalina is captured by Bowser Jr. to drain her energy to power a cannon at the top of something that he built called Planet Bowser, something that Bowser told him in a bedtime story when he was younger. A place where him and Bowser can be evil together and have everything they ever wanted and destroy all the planets of those who disagree with them. And that's another family dynamic. And probably my favorite one in the film. I always was a sucker for Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s dynamic. Just an evil father and son that is just so unapologetically evil together, but they still clearly care about each other. I am always a sucker for that type of dynamic, because when there's more than one evil party and they fail, there usually tends to be a lot of bickering between the two, like, it's your fault, no, 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 no. With them, it's just like, it's okay, we can get out of this together. And you start to think that there may or may not be a conflict between this father and son duo, because Bowser was kept in captivity for so long from when he was captured in the first film that he starts to think that he really has grown to have an emotional bond between Mario and Luigi. He's like, I don't know if I want to kill these guys. They were kind of cool, actually. But Bowser Jr. is like, nuh-uh, they kept you captive and stabbed you in the back, just like friends always do, or something like that. And instead of having a cliche like villain, maybe I was wrong, maybe I need to discipline my son, which I thought they were gonna do, honestly. Bowser instead is like, you're right, son, being evil is cool. This movie really did subvert my expectations, like, as I was watching it, in terms of where certain characters were gonna go. And I mean that in a good way. I was very pleasantly surprised in a lot of different scenes, especially in the part where Bowser was on the bridge and they cut it down just like they do in the games and he falls in the lava. I genuinely thought they killed him at first and I was shocked. I did not expect them to kill the villain. But like the next moment I was like there's no way they did that. It's got to be a fake out of some sort and I was right. He climbed up as Dry Bowser, and that's probably the coolest twist in the whole movie. There is a lot of amazingly like pleasant surprises in this movie that I think are very much worth seeing for yourself if you have not already. There's a bunch of other little things. There's Rob that shows up at one point, like the robot. There's a couple of Pikmin that show up at one point for like a couple of seconds. When Luigi uses Bowser Jr.'s little paintbrush, he accidentally conjures Mr. Game & Watch. And at the very end, Bowser Jr. uses his paintbrush to conjure up another monster, and that monster is the dragon from Mario Odyssey. The big one. Just everything about this movie is just a big love letter to Nintendo fans, I would say. My only real gripe, I would say, and one that I think is personally fine, is the pacing. It's a lot of back and forth in different areas. But considering it's Mario Galaxy and that's kind of just how it goes, you go from one planet to another, and that's just how the game goes. But they did fit a whole lot into one movie that's only like an hour and a half long. So for some, it may be a bit much. But overall, in terms of storytelling, visuals, and everything else, I thought it was perfect. And I thought it was a great sequel. And that's not something I say often. A lot of times sequels are worse, or just kind of eh. I was lucky enough to see this movie for free, but I would definitely pay for it if I had to. It is that worth it to see it in the theater if you are a Nintendo fan, a Mario fan, or just a fan of animated movies. This is 100% a 10 out of 10.